Did you know that physics has a lot to do with the cars and the car safety measures made? Well, don't blame yourself for not knowing. I mean, Ben here doesn't even have a seatbelt on, and ironically, he's a physics teacher.
So, why is it so important to have a seatbelt on, and why are they so significant? Why is it so important? Well, it all starts out from a physics law, actually.
The law of inertia. It was made by Isaac Newton, and it simply states an object at rest will remain at rest unless acted on by an unbalanced force. An object in motion continues in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted on by an unbalanced force. So let's set a scenario. Here we have a road, a car, and the car here is the object in motion, and it would want to stay in motion. Let's say it's going 35 kilometers per hour. It's going to stay going 35 kilometers per hour unless acted on by an outside force, in this case, the random brick wall that just showed up. And since the car is going to stay in motion, so is the person inside it, as they are driving the car too. That ultimately would lead them from going through the windshield, falling, injuring themselves, and ultimately dying. But why does that happen? It's because as the car collides with another object, in this case the wall here, the other object provides the force which changes the speed and the direction. The car stops going in the direction it was going in, and in some cases bounces back, depending on how hard of a force hits it, or how much momentum the car had. Also, the speed decelerates quickly due to the impact. And that's when the seatbelt comes to save the day. It has a stopping force which stops you from flying through the air and into the windshield. Another car safety measure made are airbags, and believe it or not, it is also from physics, and it's made because of physics. And airbags have the purpose of helping the passenger in the car reduce their speed during the collision without getting injured. And in this case, it all links back to momentum. The passenger in the car has momentum, as does everything else, and the momentum is a product of the passenger's mass over the velocity of the car in this case. In order to stop the passenger's momentum, they have to be acted on by an outside force, in this case, the airbag. The momentum is the product of the passenger's mass and the velocity of the car. This formula, again, comes from another Newton law, Newton's second law, which clearly states that acceleration is produced when a force acts on a mass. The greater the mass of the object being accelerated, the greater the amount of force needed to accelerate the object. In order to stop the passenger's momentum, they have to be acted on by an outside force, in this case, the airbag. Without the airbag, the outside force would usually be the windshield or the steering wheel, but that would cause some serious injuries, thus making it safer to land on an airbag. However, it is still very crucial to put on a seatbelt. Do not depend on airbags. It is a common mistake a lot of people make. That is due to the fact that the crash sensors do not signal the airbag to inflate unless the vehicle is at least moving around 6 kilometers per hour. So if you're not moving at that speed, the airbags won't inflate, thus causing you some serious damage. Because in this case, the law of inertia in car collisions won't be so forgiving. It's also a choice to not go too fast when you're driving your car. Believe it or not, this pie chart right here, made by the Abu Dhabi Health Authority in 2009, states that road traffic injury was the most common, with a staggering 63% out of all of the other injuries. However, according to the Department of Transport in Abu Dhabi, it has been improving. And they have been doing that with speed management and road safety awareness. For speed management, for example, they would study each road and see the appropriate limit put to avoid any car crashes. And to raise awareness of road safety, they've been doing that by educating people in schools about what's it to be safe in cars and while driving, so that the future car drivers would be aware of the dangers of not wearing a seatbelt or going too fast, along with the science that goes behind it, which is physics. Despite these improvements, I think one more improvement should be made by the Department of Transport, and which is managing trucks. Because if a truck and a normal car get into a collision, the normal car would
be the most damaged out of both of them because of the truck's mass, relating again to the second Newton's law. And that is why I believe that trucks should be driven at a certain time when not all normal cars are functioning. So maybe in the very early hours of the morning to avoid any car crashes from happening. Although that rule has been put in some roads, it hasn't been put in all of the roads, and I believe that it should be put in most to avoid that. And car and truck collisions can actually cause really serious damage, even though if you're wearing a seatbelt too. Overall, I believe that if trucks are all driven in the early hours of the morning, thus reducing car collisions, also another side of car collisions, which is between trucks and cars, I believe it would have a more positive impact on society because that would reduce casualties and deaths of car collisions and it would cause less social problems. I mean, imagine losing a relative in a car crash, maybe your parent, and maybe that parent would be your main source of income, thus causing economic issues in the family. So it can have a bigger effect than what we already think it is, besides death. It can have social impacts and economic impacts.